Seeing it with my mom, I would say no. Not there's no specific roles, but in older generations like my grandma, I would say that that's kind of more evident.
I think my family is a little different than our culture just because my mom grew up in my dad is more conservative than my mom, and my mom grew up in a very non-traditional Muslim household where her mom, her parents were divorced, so they were very she was very independent. And so in our household, the woman isn't the traditional what you think of Arab woman that just cooks and cleans and has that role as where the father's the bread maker, but in our household both of them are, and it's really even my dad cooks and stuff. So I think no, I don't think the women in our household have a traditional role.
Growing up, my mom had more of the caregiver role, and it was very a hierarchy set up, and so it's my dad was bringing home the bacon or whatever, and my mom was kind of just taking care of the kids. Then as we grew up and as my little sister kind of grew up, my mom started to, because she went back to school while we were kids, so she started to get her own job. So the role kind of changed, especially with my father moving to another country. So she's definitely my mom's always been the primary caregiver, but at the same time, she has a job and she has her own life. She volunteers at the courthouse. So in a way, I think it differs from the traditional Arab setting and the Muslim setting, because in most Muslim families I hear that the mom is a stay-at-home mom, but more and more these days I hear that it's more of the situation that I'm used to, where a mother and a father are working.
There's definitely a role in the household for women. Basically, we serve, we clean up. The men, they come home, they sit, and they're served. So that's what the girls do. And being the daughter, you kind of serve your parents in a way and then clean up after everything. So that's what I would say the role is of the house.
Yeah, definitely. When I was living at home, it was me and my mom, my sisters, we all cleaned. My mom cooked, and my dad would just kind of come home and sit and smoke, hookah and watch movies.
No, I don't believe that. I didn't grow up with any brothers, or I never really kind of witnessed the difference between a girl and a guy in my house. The last time I was in Egypt was in 2005, and actually I'm going this summer. But there was an instance that I remember. So it was for my grandfather's funeral, and one of my aunts or someone had sent out my cousin, who was a guy, to go to the market down the street. And I was like, oh, I want to go with. And she's like, no, you can't go.
Yeah.
You can't go with, because I think it was because of what I was wearing or something, and I would be with a group of guys, and she's like, no, you can't go. So over there, yeah. But I guess not more in my family. My immediate family, my mom and my dad. No, but I can totally see it with my extended family.
Yeah.
And my family who doesn't live in the States.
Yes, because there's always those double standards where my parents are oh well, I'm oh, these guys that I know, they're they're also Arab Muslims, and they can do all this stuff and nobody cares. But if a girl, if I do it, you guys are no, it's bad, we're gonna get bad judgment on us and our family. And it's just so I do feel hindered in that way. And it's the same for if a guy dates a girl, it's not as big of a deal. But if an Arab girl dates a guy, it's so frowned upon. And so I do feel in that way, because it's it's cross-cultural things, I guess.
Yes, because growing up, I think that, especially with my dad, he put more emphasis on us my sisters and I kind of just getting married and having that traditional life. It wasn't until he kind of grew up a bit, I guess you could say, that he sort of accepted that we wanted an education, we wanted our own career path. With my cousins, all of his sister's kids are boys except for a girl, so he was kind of lenient towards them, oh, they're going to get an education, they're going to do this, and my girls are going to get married and have children and just play that role. But it sort of took a nice progression, I guess you could say. So I felt hindered for a bit. I still sometimes feel a little hindered, because I feel he doesn't put as much confidence in me as he would a son, but in terms of how he was raised, I guess this is the best I could hope for.
Absolutely. I mean, duh. There's the culture from over there in Palestine to here is just very different. It's like this culture clash. They have like certain guidelines for women, but they don't have that for men really. Like you dress a certain way, you don't date, you can't go out at night, they want to know everything about where you're going, who you're hanging out with. And guys don't have to do that, so yeah, I do feel restricted in a way when I'm at home.
Definitely, my whole life, because like I would go every other summer when I was younger to Sudan or Ethiopia. Like I'd go visit, and there was like so many things that I wasn't able to do, and I realized that difference between the genders when I was really younger, because like I wasn't able to go out and hang out like on the street or like watch the guys play soccer, because it was like it was rude. Like, there's just things that, like, I couldn't do as a woman, like, I wasn't able to wear my skinny jeans, over there because I can't wear pants, just, like, things like that I wasn't able to do.